What's up, guys? Welcome back to the JP and Trav show on the JP and Trav YouTube channel and also live from Travis's X. It's your boy JP. To my right, my esteemed co-host, brother, and friend, and still world champions, Trav Davison. Trav, how you feeling, brother?
Still feel like a champion. Still, it hasn't worn off yet by any means. So, I see all the other teams, either somehow tearing it down, some teams in the West building it up to try and catch us. But no, I'm feeling good. We've got the holiday weekend upon us, of course. Excited for that. Plan on keeping all 10 of my fingers over the weekend. But, excited about our guest we've got today. A great friend of the show. Relaxing in 85-degree weather with a cigar and a beard. Yeah. Most interesting man on the pod, apparently.
On the pod. No, man. Yeah, I don't even know if we can call him a guest at this point. He's been on with us so much. He's just a staple of the show at this point. But welcome in our good friend Ty Hayes from Roundtable Sports. How you doing, Ty?
I'm happy to be here. Thank y'all as always for the opportunity to come on here, talk some football. Listen, the beautiful thing about YouTube, Twitter, whatever platform it is, there is no shortage of phenomenal content creators, and there are few shows that I think do it as well as y'all do it, and so it's always just a treat to be here with y'all.
Well, thank you. That's kind words. We appreciate you, and obviously we love you and your content, and it's always good to get you over here. I'm glad you could come on and pop on with us tonight. It's been a minute since we've had a guest, so it's nice to get a familiar face. And also, I think that there's value that you can provide to some of the conversations that I think I wanted to start up tonight. I don't know if you've been paying attention, Ty. I know Trav and I have talked about it here and there on the pod and on Twitter recently, but yesterday Jake Rosenberg quote tweeted a video of Jim Nagy talking about kind of a little bit of the process that they're going through in the Oklahoma front office right now and the way that they evaluate talent and how hey, if there's a 5-star that's looking at Ohio State and Oregon and we have a 3-star that's maybe looking at some Power 5 school or lower group of 5 schools, but we have them rated the same on our system, we're probably going after that guy that is lower. And you would have thought that he dropped a bomb. We have a section, as I know you do, in Alabama fandom, I'm sure, but we have a section of Oklahoma fans we call the Doomers, right? Who, no matter what's happening, even if it's a positive thing, they somehow find something negative to say about it. And so we had a lot of people, even throughout the whole day today, that were like, well, we're just 3-star you. We're never going to compete. You can't compete for championships that way. And basically crapping on Jim Nagy and what he said and acting like he doesn't know what he's talking about, essentially. So, Trav, honestly, I want to hear Trav's thoughts really quick, just, obviously as a fellow Sooner fan, because we and him haven't talked about this. But then, Ty, I would love to hear your thoughts, obviously, as an outside perspective on what your respect level for Jim Nagy is, one, but also just like, do you feel like Oklahoma, like that those Doomers have a semblance of a gripe, or do you think that they're delusional? But Trav, go ahead, man. You go first.
So with me, it's interesting being in this state, right? And this isn't me bringing up the Thunder Championship again on purpose, but it is because I talked about it on radio last week. Just patience. Patience has gone from the world, really. Everything's instant. We're coming to you live on Twitter and on YouTube, right? It's instant. I can say something because of satellites and electricity, all this kind of stuff. Instantly, you are going to see me in Texas and you are going to see me in Indiana immediately. I mean, we don't even want to wait for things to buffer anymore, right? It's annoying if something buffers. So it's funny because everybody tries to microwave things, right? And the Thunder won their championship by not microwaving it, by baking it, by smoking it, by 20 hours low and slow, right? Where they were just smart, patient, and calculated. They're ahead of the curve because they put smart people in charge And there is a Sam Presti day now, just like there's a Mark Dagnall day. And everybody, I mean, Sam Presti is known as probably now the best GM now that he's got a championship, probably the best GM in the game. So I love that people live within these state lines and will get Sam Presti tattoos, but Oklahoma hires a GM, one who is pretty widely respected as a top 2 or 3 GM candidate, at least. We need to see these people do their jobs before we actually crown who's best at it. But he would be on an open market if anybody knew he was available. It would be probably a top 2 or 3 guy that people would go after, right? So I just think it's funny that on one hand, you've got people that are, God save Presti, long live Presti, all this. And then they look at OU football, a sport, an entity that is going to basically a pro model, to where you have to manage a cap, to where you have to be smart, you have to evaluate, you have to develop, you have to do all the things that the Oklahoma City Thunder are doing. Well, now the Sooners are trying to do it, and they're like, no, can't do it that way. This guy doesn't know what he's doing. He's not, he can't evaluate this, that, or the other. Why would you be smart with money? Just throw money. Like, it's crazy to me how we can say all day until we're blue in the face that college football is becoming more like a professional environment, and Oklahomans have the model of professional success at the GM level right down the road, and they buck at anything that Nagy does, especially since he just got here in February.
Yeah, I'm fascinated with this whole discourse, because I agree 100%, Travis. If I'm playing devil's advocate, trying to see it from the other side, the only qualm I think you could have is the separating factor is that OKC, you have time in pro sports to low and slow smoke things. You have time to bake things. In college, you got 3 to 4 years. And that's assuming that people aren't hitting the transfer portal. So your window is much smaller than is a pro. However, the reason why I still don't believe, right now I'm not playing devil's advocate, now back to me. The reason why I still don't believe that's a compelling argument, and if you are an OU fan or if you're a college football fan out there who ascribes to that argument, the reason why I still don't think that's the way to go is that I think right now this discourse with Nagy is missing a massive piece of context. Because I've seen people online, OU fans, teams trying to throw dirt on OU saying, oh, so we're just not going to go after the 5 stars. That's not what he said. He said if we have a 3-star rated on our personal board as high as a 5-star, we're going to give the attention to the 3-star, and we might even give some preferential treatment because we might be in a position where we can get him. He didn't say we're not going to look at the 5-star. That's not what he said, right? Now, one thing, guys, is right now I'm studying for the LSAT. So everything to me is like, I can't help but think about things in terms of things being incredibly literal, right? Like, what did you say? What was the author's intent? Why? He never said, oh, we're going to forego looking at 5 stars for 3 stars. What he said is, if we like a 3-star, we'll go after him. Gentlemen, you have got to trust your coaching staff's evaluations. And Travis, to your point, I think, not to be a homer, but right now I think Alabama has the best GM in the game, Courtney Morgan. He's the guy who built the Michigan roster that won a national championship. He's the guy that then built the Washington roster that was in the national championship. And now we look at what Bama's doing on the recruiting trail. Nick Saban leaves. They get a top 5 class last year. They look like they're going to get a top 3 class this year with 2 more 5 stars pending. Courtney Morgan is incredible. Incredible. When he got off that plane, I text Jay and I was like, oh, it got serious. He said, because DeBoer, I said, look at the guy behind him. DeBoer is a great coach. Courtney Morgan in this new age is incredible. Do you know what Courtney Morgan doesn't have, guys? GM experience in the era of football we just stepped into, which is you have a salary cap. You have to find out how to disperse. Nagy does. Nagy's been there. Nagy knows this. So I agree with you, Travis. I think Nagy's a top 5 GM in college football before we start really discussing salary cap and how that. Now you have a guy that has an inside idea of what this needs to look like. You have to trust Jim Nagy. You want the blue chip recruits. There's a blue chip ratio for a reason. These sites do a much better job getting it right than we give them credit for. They really do. I'm not saying they're perfect, but when you're talking about tens of thousands of kids they're trying to rate, they do a pretty darn good job. That doesn't mean kids don't fall through the cracks. If y'all want to see something crazy, go into YouTube Huddle, type in Lotzier Brooks. Kid was unranked. And I think he was probably a top 3 wide receiver last year. It happens all the time. Trust in your evaluators. That's where trust in them until they give you a reason not to. He just started. And the last thing I'll say, I'm sorry to be long-winded on this. A lot of the guys I record with that are in Alabama were going to the Senior Bowl. They know, not like, oh, I know him. He's over at my house every weekend, Nagy. They know of Nagy. They've shook hands with Nagy. I have not heard anything except glowing reviews. And these are Bama guys. These are Bama football fans, and they're like, yeah, that's a great get they just got. Nagy's that dude. Trust in the evaluations.
You're muted.
Feeling me muted. Yep. I got.
We're live.
As you saw, hopping on my shoulder there, we got my daughter, a kitten. Because she's 3, and yeah. Anyways, so
that's
I was
insane that she's 3 already.
All right. Yeah, she was. Trav just saw her a little bit ago. You can ask her. You can ask him how big she's gotten. And
yeah, she's getting real big.
It's funny. She anytime she sees, I don't know if I can use Travis. Anytime she sees the logo, she goes, "That's Daddy and Uncle Trav." It's so
That's
cute.
right.
But
That's right.
yeah, but the cat Tacos, the cat's name, was meowing, and so I was trying to shut her up. Anyways, I think that what happens, Ty, and what has happened, and Trav understands this. Those people, they choose to remain in a negative state of mind for protection, to put up a wall. I don't know, for whatever reason. And people like Trav and I, and obviously yourself, you're not an Oklahoma fan, but like just as the person you are, like we have reasonable takes. The 3 of us have reasonable takes. We rarely do the hot take stuff. That's not the type of people we are, right? We all have reasonable, thought out takes. We don't do the Travis said some crazy stuff about Marcus Major before, but that's neither here nor there.
Was I wrong?
No. It's not a hot take unless there's you can have like hot takes, but if you're presenting reason and behind logic behind it and you're making a principled argument, I don't necessarily consider that like super hot takes because that's just conversation pieces.
Right 100%. But you'll have these people that they stay in this state of mind, and so for them it's easier to just be like, well, we've said for years you're never going to win unless you just go $15 million into debt, like Ohio, like they say Ohio State did, and all the conversations I was having today. Look at the roster they built and all the 5 stars they have, and look at Georgia and look at Oregon and all these people. And they've been saying this for years that we're not doing enough, even though under Brent Venables we've actually had the best class Oklahoma has had in since they started doing rankings. But that's not information that they want to talk about because to them it hasn't panned out on the field, which again I understand to a degree, but they're now making that conversation a part of Jim Nagy's stick because of what he said. So they're like, oh, so because you want to actually evaluate talent, you don't want to just go and get any 5 stars and you'll just let us get outbid. That's what they heard. That we're not going to go after 5 stars. We're just going to try to take risks on projects and try to develop them because they don't trust our coaches. And they don't really trust the front office model because they don't trust Josie, and that's where it all stems from. Like they have a foundational distrust of the administration at Oklahoma, and that is where I think most of this comes from. Because Jim Nagy hasn't even been on the job, but what, 4 months? If that.
Yeah, and one of the first things he did, we don't have Jaden Ott on our roster if Jim Nagy doesn't come to town. Like,
right.
I'm confident saying that. So, like if nothing else, if all he's done in the spring portal is bring you Jaden Ott, like, okay, cool. Like, that's good. That's good enough for me this spring cycle. But that's, it's the Nagy thing that got brought up in specifically the interview. We were talking about, what was actually said, right? If there's a 5-star and a 3-star and we have them rated the same on our board, then like there are two things that go along with that are both foundational to what he's trying to say. One, he has his own board. Like, yes, On3, Rivals, 247 ESPN, they have their ratings. He has his board. I know that he has pulled back on certain players that don't have measurables that he looks for when he's scouting for the Senior Bowl, when he's scouting for the NFL. If they don't have measurables, if they don't have certain traits, speed-wise, explosive, wingspan, all these things at different positions, they basically have these checklists and they're saying, hey, look, if this guy doesn't have that, then I don't care where he's rated. Like, he's not on our board, right? You see that in NFL all the time. So it's the fact that they have their board. And a lot of people say, and not to bucket the blue chip ratio because it's simply true. But like, there are not colleges out there, successful ones, that print off the ESPN top 300 or the Rivals 300 and then just offer all 300 and go, all right, sit back. Like, no, they are doing their own camps. They make offers at their own camps. They now have a staff that goes out and combs regionally what they're trying to do, right? Like, they have their own board based off it's the smoke. It's coming up from your window into mine. But so, and then the other one is value, right? The 3-star and the 5-star. Look, if the 5-star is going to cost double what the 3-star is, but you think the 3-star can be 90% of what that 5-star is, you should get the 3-star. Like, it's simple as that. Like, it's a value proposition. Like, get 2 of those 3 stars. So now you've got 2 of the guys. This one kid was going to cost you double. He might bust. He might get hurt. He might transfer. He might be a diva. He might be. So I'm going to double my chances. I got 2 over here that might give me 90%. Anybody that plays cards or anything, they know that. They would much rather take that bet. So that's where it comes down to. It is not necessarily the, hey, we rank a guy here, they rank a guy here, close enough, we'll just take the one that's lower ranked. That's not what it is. You've got to balance the cap on these people. And if you're counting on people being in your class, let's just keep it a buck. You could be going all in for 5-star Felix Ojo and come down right before his Final Four and feel like you've spent all of your time recruiting him and your resources and everything like that. And some other school might come and drop a bag and take your prized left tackle of the future the day before. So, like, that happens less with 3 stars. So I'm not up here saying, oh, you should only go after 3 stars. What I'm saying is, if they have somebody evaluating that's a high 3-star, low 4-star, whatever, that they think can play in the SEC, can succeed in the SEC, can be a game changer, can be a contributor, then go after that person. And you may not have to deal with the headache of billionaires dropping bags, 24 hours before a commitment. So OU will prioritize positions. Bo Bentley will not play for free at Oklahoma. Jaden Ott is not playing for free. John Mateer is not playing for free. Michael Fasusi is not on the roster for free. Like, if we land Eberhardt, he will not be free. If we land Davian Gross, he will not be free. Like, these are all wildly talented, highly rated players. It's not that OU is just shopping in the bargain bin. It's that OU knows that there might be some good values in the bargain bin.
Yeah, and it doesn't mean that OU is going to see a guy like if you have an undeniable 5-star and you're looking and you're like, man, that guy's going to make our roster better. Not only the starters, let's say it's a wide receiver. That guy's going to be a dude. He comes in here day dot. He's competing for a starting position. The day he walks in here, by spring, we expect him to have something sorted out. He's going to be making the cornerbacks better. He's going to be making the other wide receivers better because iron sharpens iron. Nagy never said, we're not going to go after that guy. He's just simply looking at this from a nuanced point of view and saying, okay, and Don saying, where's the NIL salary cap that I'm talking about? That's from that house settlement. That now there's going to be revenue sharing in college football, and every team's going to have X amount of dollars. I think the last time I checked, there's still kind of one firm estimated it was 23. One firm estimated it could be a couple million higher than that. So the exact numbers, as I understand it, still getting ironed out. But you're going to be splitting that money up between active roster, recruits, and transfer portal, plus your other sports, right? Like it's not like all 23, 24 million goes to football. It gets spread around. So I think that's great. But Travis, don't do it now if you're watching. Don't do it now. After we get done, I really want people, and I'm also doing this because I know we're about to watch something that's going to hurt my heart as an Alabama fan later on in this episode. But Lotzier Brooks, seriously, go look at him. There was only one wide receiver that if you told me, and I don't know that I would take him over Lotzier Brooks. I truly believe that kid might be the second best wide receiver last year's class. He was an unranked 3-star. Kid broke the record for New Jersey touchdowns his first game his senior year. Kid went.
Go ahead and type that name. Type the name into the chat. Type the name into the chat because that's not exactly Bob Williams.
Yeah, I think DeCorian Moore. Like I'm not shocked, but outside of DeCorian Moore, this is a kid every team would have taken. If you only had one wide receiver and someone said, I'm taking DeCorian Moore, this is what Travis is talking about, guys. It is a evaluation that your staff does. Finds someone and says, I like him as much or more than I like anybody else out there. He's a 3-star. We can get him. Relationships matter. Boom. Done. Mason Graham and them boys were 3 stars.
Yeah. Did he freeze up? And you're muted. He's frozen. You're muted. I don't know what's going on.
Yikes.
I'm back.
There we go. Well, to your point, I mean, Justin Jefferson was the 2,174th ranked recruit in the country. He might be the best receiver in the NFL. And he scored roughly 100 touchdowns against Oklahoma in the Peach Bowl.
Facts.
So, but that's the point. It's not like, and I know Texas fans are so excited because they're like, man, it's going to be awesome. Nagy said he'd rather have 3 stars than 5 stars. Like, that's not what he said. It's not what he said. He looks for traits. A lot of 5 stars are 5 stars because of their traits. But there are not a lot, but there are some 5 stars that, have traits but just never really put it together. There's some that have some ego issues. There's some that aren't just going to be fits. There's some that require $10 million. And will, people value different things. Like we're dealing with an Oklahoma State thing with the in-state kids right now. Yeah. It is valuable for Oklahoma State to say that the best in Oklahoma go to Oklahoma State. And they're saying that in 2026 because they've got Oklahoma's got no commitments from any Oklahoma in-state kids. OSU's got a couple 3 stars, 4-star, I think, in Taj Overton, Caden Jones. And anyways, they value that more from a monetary perspective because it is important marketing for them. And not to say that Oklahoma wouldn't have taken Taj Overton. That's not what I'm saying. Or Braden Presley. But, Oklahoma State from a financial perspective values those individuals more. And they should than Oklahoma. And they should. because that is important to them to build that, that brand of, hey, we're where Oklahomans play, man. We're the local team. OU, they're SEC, they're national this. They want to recruit Florida and Texas and California and, everywhere. Like Oklahoma, the best in Oklahoma played Oklahoma State. That is a valuable marketing aspect for them. They should spend more of their money on local kids. But that's the thing. There's value involved, right? Like if it's a position need, like LSU, I was kind of surprised that we beat out LSU for Bo Bentley, only because I knew Bryson Underwood got taken from them last time. So they didn't sign a high school quarterback in 2025 class. And then now 2026, their top target is Bo Bentley, and Arbuckle and Nagy and BV bring him home to Norman. So 2027, I don't know what they're going to do, but they're going to back up the Brinks truck. Whoever's got whoever. I don't know. Hopefully they don't like Peyton Houston. But like it's like teams like that, teams that have desperation in certain positions, it just doesn't make sense to get into bidding wars with them. Like Texas has enough money to go at Ojo and try and outbid Cody Campbell. You don't think Texas has oil billionaire? You think Texas Tech's the only team with an oil billionaire? You don't think Texas or Texas A&M has one of those?
Yeah.
Fine, go spend it. But they won't, because that is a cornerstone commitment if Texas Tech lands his services. It simply isn't for Texas. They got 5 stars all over the roster.
Yeah.
So it means more to Texas Tech. That's what I'm trying to get across.
Ty, did you even see what Jim Nagy said? Like actually hear it?
No, I'm not going to even lie that I heard the entirety of it. I heard a snippet. And when I heard the snippet, I was like, okay, I get why people are kind of reacting the way they are. And I was like, but I also think that it's not taking what he said literally.
Yeah.
Right? Like,
yeah.
He did not say we're not. I mean, we've talked about it. I think that. Listen, when you're a fan of a blue blood team, even if you're not a fan of a blue blood team, if you're a fan of that upper echelon of college football, right? Like there's about 15 teams. You have your blue bloods, but then there's this group, including blue bloods, of about 15 teams. Fan bases and opposing fan bases are going to be different. They just are.
Yeah.
And OU is coming off of a year that left a lot to be desired. Now, I'm of the mindset that a lot of that has to do with the craziest injury luck I've ever seen. I've never seen anything like this in my entire life watching sports. Y'all wear a CVS receipt every single week of injuries, and I'm just sitting there like, how they're going to call me at some point, and I'm going to have to respectfully decline because I'm going to do more harm than good. So it's one of those, like, I get it, right? Because even Bama fans are upset about last year. Cool, deservedly so. But, like, there are nuanced conversations we have to have about why things went the way they went. And once you understand that, I think it takes some of that pressure and angst away.
Right. Let's take a quick gander here at what Jim said. I don't want to put words in his mouth. So
we're going to value it just like we would in the National Football League, and that's where you find your value. What we saw this spring, which I think was a really good way to do it, is we graded the players on our new scale. And then when you get to OV season is when you see where you can get value, right? Because I think what's going to set the market for a lot of these players in terms of what they're being paid and what agents expect to be paid is the star system, right? I think 5 stars want to get paid like 5 stars. So when you get into the OV season, we might have the same grade on a 5-star and a guy that's a 3-star. And when you look at where they're taking their OVs to, if they're going to Ohio State and Oregon and Texas A&M, that's going to be a certain market, right?
Right.
But then if the same graded player is getting offers from some group of 5 schools, we know what direction we're probably going to go because you're looking for that value. If you look at National Football League rosters and dig back into their high school backgrounds, man, that league is littered with 2- and 3-star players.
Yes.
So they're out there.
Yes.
Again, it's just we need to identify those guys and trust our evaluation. So that's really, not to share too much of the trade secrets there, but that's how we're going to attack it.
So that was Jim Nagy, and just so we see what some of the Oklahoma fans are saying. You're 100% right. I don't like it. You ain't winning a natty this way. Nagy just comes off as an athletic program politician, saying all the right things and not doing anything about the actual problems, even though he just got here. This guy's like, I'm sorry, I don't like 25-year title droughts. That's unacceptable to the Sunshine Pumpers. They love irrelevancy. So this is this type of stuff we've been dealing with today, right? And it's part of it. It's part of being part of a blue blood fan base, right? We get it. But I think there's a difference between saying, hey, we want to trust guys that, industry-wide was a celebrated hire. A guy that could have been an NFL GM that probably knows a thing or two about what he's talking about, and trusting him and waiting and seeing on that tilt, as opposed to being like, well, we just love being irrelevant as Oklahoma Sooners because we haven't won a championship in 25 years. We're going to be a failed blue blood. I've been having that conversation this week too, Ty. That Oklahoma's a failed blue blood. Been having that conversation on X and TikTok. Apparently, Michigan fans think that Oklahoma's not a blue blood and that Michigan's a deeper blue blood than Oklahoma all of a sudden. So anyways, that's just some of the conversations, that we've been having. So, yeah.
Well, my issue is like, you can't have it both ways. Like if you're just a negative person, then you're just a negative person. Like they're like, oh, this won't work. How do you know? How do you know, random person that has never done this before? How do you know it's not going to work? Tell me why. Because it may not, but it may. Like, we don't know. This is the first time we're doing this. So you can't guarantee, you can't speak so matter-of-factly that it's just not going to work.
Yeah.
And then when people are like, 25-year drought, winning championships, it's like, yeah, we're trying to fix that. Like, we went out and hired somebody that's trying to – what is the other option? Like, don't hire a GM. If Jim Nagy called and said, hey, I really want that job, we say, sorry, negative fan 12 on Twitter said that, we can't hire you because, we don't know what we're doing. It's like, it's just madness to me because people speak so matter-of-factly about something that we have no idea how it's going to work. But when Jim Nagy talks in that makes a lot of sense. I mean, that is a logical statement that he just made. Hey, look, if we've got guys ranked at the same place and there's a market, when he's naming those schools, he's talking about a dollar figure. So he's like, there's a dollar figure for this, guy, but the dollar figure is down here for this guy, and we think they're equal. Then yes, that is a logical statement that you would do that. But the problem is all these people that are whining and moaning on Twitter, all they do in their downtime is go at Texas fans and go at Bama fans and go at Missouri fans and call them all poverty and losers if they miss out on a 5-star. So they're the ones that are writing the checks for the recruiting rankings. And then now that we might get a 3-star or might get, somebody that OU highly values, they might get made fun of by the Missouri fans they've been poking at for 5 years, or the Texas fans they've been poking at for 5 years, or the Bama fans they've been poking at for 5 years. And that's the thing. They want Nagy to basically recruit in a way that I can look cool on Twitter, or I can talk trash to other fan bases on Twitter. It's like, sorry, buddy, it ain't like that. Maybe you shouldn't have been talking trash, writing checks that your football recruiting strategy couldn't cash.
Yeah. Yeah. 100%.
I'm
ahead,
going to say this right here, guys. For anybody worried about stars, because Ott hasn't played it down in the SEC yet, listen, I know what caliber of back he is. I'm so excited for him to make his debut in the SEC. I can't wait. OU fans, cover your ears. Because I think the best running back in the SEC that's proven in terms of SEC play is in Austin, Texas right now. Trey Wisner. I think that kid is fantastic. Wouldn't you know it, he was a 3-star. Would you look at that?
Yeah.
Not all 3 stars are created equal. Not all 5 stars are created equal. Sometimes they don't pan out. It happens.
Our quarterback last year.
Now, yeah, like I said, these ranking services do a good job. But Travis, JP, what if there's a 5-star that the ranking services have dead to rights? He's that guy, but he doesn't fit your scheme. Would you rather get the 5-star that doesn't fit your scheme or the 4-star who fits the scheme like a glove and is really going to be able to be developed and go to that next level? Where the 5-star is going to be a 5-star, but he's not going to be able to be developed to his full capabilities in that scheme. Not that there's anything wrong with it. He just doesn't fit that scheme. No, it's best for both parties. 5-star, you go over here to somewhere that fits the scheme. I'm going to get someone that fits what we want to do. Evaluations are as important. Dare I say, Travis, I want to hear your thoughts on this, JP, you as well. Evaluations are about to be more important than ever whenever you have now a salary cap, essentially. And now you have an X percentage of money that you have to split between active roster, transfer portal, and recruits. Now we're going to see who's really on their P's and Q's. Now we're going to see who's about it.
Well, and not only that, but I think you're going to see Oklahoma at least. Well, you know, everybody always wants to build through high school. They should build through high school. Those are guys that you should be able to get for a cheaper price than transfer portal guys, and you get them for potentially 4 years, right? 5 years if they take a red shirt. But it'll be interesting because Nagy and his team, they're used to scouting college kids. So it'll be interesting to see if they go for more proven, you know, transfer portal kids because they're more suited. You know, Nagy doesn't scout 16-year-olds, right? 15-year-olds. That's not what he's been doing his whole career. But he should be a monster in the portal. So evaluating those kind of guys throughout the entire year, knowing what every roster looks like. If this guy becomes available, you know, let's go after him. If this guy does, but also, yeah, evaluations, like you're balancing the cap just like you would a pro team, right? Look at basketball right now, right? Like everybody's talking contract this, contract that. It's like, yeah, you have enough room for maybe one supermax guy, maybe 1 or 2 rookie max extensions,
Yep.
and then a lot of 2-year deals, 3-year deals at, you know, mid-level, $3 million, $4 million. Like you want to spend heavy in certain areas where you pretty much have to. And that's why if you get like a 3-star quarterback that takes off, like you can get a lot of alleviation from that cap, much like the rookie scale in the NFL with the quarterbacks. But yeah, you're going to have to balance a budget and all the days of just trying to whip 5 stars in for a certain amount. I don't know. We might not be long for it.
Yeah. Before we get on to kind of the last part of our segment that we've been doing, Ty, I did want to give you an opportunity, man. I know we obviously had something to talk about tonight in particular, but man, just wanted to give you some space. You know, what are you thinking about? Your Crimson Tide this year. I know you talked a little bit about some of the work that your GM was doing already, but you know, who's your quarterback? I don't know that I know. Who kind of is going to be that heir apparent after Jalen. So what's the situation down in Tuscaloosa? And you know, I think Trav, are you going to Tuscaloosa this year, Trav? Not the plan?
Absolutely.
You know what? I might have to try and get to that game as well, man. I'll get with you after the show. We might have to coordinate something and make that road trip together.
Sounds good.
Yeah, I'm excited, man. I'm really excited because last year, and I don't know if I said it on y'all's show. I know we talked. I got a little bit of heat from Bama fans because I thought 9-3 was a very realistic outlook for Alabama. I looked around the SEC. I said, okay, you're adding in 2 great squads in Texas and OU. The SEC is not easy. It's different, right? And like, I'm not saying that every week is like you're playing Ohio State, Bama, Georgia. Like it's not like that. It's just it's so physical. And like you just look at how the SEC recruits, they just want to punch you in the face. There are teams like I forget who it was, whether it was Jonathan Allen, and he was talking about like Kentucky and Mississippi State. He's like, I know that those look like throwaway games, but they just punch you in the face. Like they're just trying to hit you. And it's a different league. It's fun. So I thought that Bama last year definitely had some disappointing moments. I think a lot of Bama fans really lost sight of how much Alabama lost in the transfer portal. I mean, you lose a guy like Caleb Downs. You lose Trey Amos, who goes and plays over at Ole Miss and has a fantastic year. Your whole secondary is basically freshmen. You have Damani Jackson, who transfers in, but he hadn't played a full year of football since his sophomore year of high school at that point because junior year got hurt. Senior year was the pandemic. Redshirt his freshman year, had some injuries his redshirt freshman year. And so last year's his first full year of football. I thought there were a lot of bright spots for Alabama. I thought there was a lot for Alabama that needs to be improved on. But because of that, I'm really excited. JP, to answer your question, quarterback, I think it's going to be Ty Simpson. He's been there a while. He's a former 5-star. He's got the intangibles that you would like. And I think he's just one of those guys who's very well-rounded in his game. He's not a mobile quarterback like Jalen Milroe. I mean, but how many guys are mobile like Jalen Milroe? But he's got legs. He's much more athletic than people give him credit for. But, I'm also excited about the quarterback room as a whole. You get Key Russell coming in there from Duncanville, who was unbelievable at Duncanville. A bunch of people questioned, is he just that good because of the talent he has around him? I would always say, hey, that's a fair question. But when you get to Alabama, it's not like you're not going to have talent around you. You're going to have Ryan Williams on one side and whoever the hell else on the other side. I mean, you're going to be surrounded by talent. So I'm excited for the quarterback position. This year definitely, in my opinion, needs to be a step in the right direction because now DeBoer understands the team. Last year was first year there. He's trying to get a gauge on the team. You're trying to keep the roster together because Nick Saban just retires. You're trying to piece everything together. Now everything's been pieced together. Now you've been there for a full 12 months, right? Now you really understand who it is you're coaching. You understand what Alabama is. And this is the year I think you see some growth. I'm really excited, man. I'm so excited for what this season's going to have. I am super almost, I don't want to say surprised, but I am kind of surprised at the way Alabama is recruiting right now. I don't know when the last time y'all checked it out. Alabama is on a tear right now. They got the number 2
they're on a
running back
heater
in the nation, depending on where you look. They have if you look at 24/7 Sports, they have a number 8 player in the nation, the number 11 player in the nation, the number 14 player in the nation. By the way, guys, that number 14 player in the nation, Jordan Edmonds, when he was offered, guess what he was? A 3-star. So it shows what evaluations do, right? He was a 3-star who started going to camps, and then everybody looked up and said, oh yeah, we missed one. Now he's a top 15 player in the nation. It's evaluations, right? Like that is the name of the game. And I think if you're Alabama, you're in a really good spot for another 5-star defensive back, and you're in a really good spot for a 5-star edge. They're recruiting really well right now, and it's just super interesting to see how this year goes. Because I'm not going to sit here and say that Alabama doesn't have to show it on the field. They do. Because it's one thing to have the year you did last year, Kalen DeBoer's first season, where I thought Alabama was the most inconsistent top 25 team there was. You didn't know what Alabama you were going to get. Are you going to get the Alabama that came out the first half against Georgia and looked like, oh man, nobody might beat this team? Or are you going to get the Alabama that came out against Vandy? Who knows? It was fun as a fan, frustrating as a fan. I went gray a little bit, but this year Alabama has to be consistent. And that's going to be a lot of fun to see.
Yeah, I think currently Alabama is a 13.5-point favorite at home over the Sooners. I think it's the largest point spread of the year for us, which is
13 and a
seems
half?
like a lot.
Wow.
Yeah, I'm interested in Bama's offense. You return Caden Proctor, who's going to be one of the top tackles off the board. You return Parker Brailsford, who I think genuinely might be the best center in the nation. I mean, he was on the Joe Moore award-winning line over there at Washington, stepped in as a true freshman in the SEC, gave up one pressure, and everybody says he's undersized. The kid's great. You return Jaden Roberts, he'll be healthy, but Alabama really has to figure out that right tackle position. That's something that hurt them last year. They got to figure that out this year. They've got to figure out how to replace Tyler Booker, and that's not easy. You get Cam Dewberry in the transfer portal. I'm hopeful he can be a replacement for Booker. You got to replace Jalen Milroe. You got to figure out where your offense is going to be consistency-wise, because one thing with Nick Sheridan as offensive coordinator last year, you could tell he was a young offensive coordinator, because there were times where I was looking and I'm like, there's no foundational play calling. It's almost like you're calling plays to call a play. You're not building upon yourself.
Mm-hmm.
And that really hurt Alabama. Now you're replacing a quarterback. I'm not worried about the wide receiver room. I think Alabama's wide receiver room is really in a good position. Defensively, though, I'm really excited if they can get the edge figured out. I think the interior is good. The linebacking room is good. Secondary, I think Alabama might be contending for best secondary in the nation, because you're bringing back everybody except Malachi Moore. There was a bunch of true freshmen basically last year, and they're all coming back. So offense is a question, but luckily you have an offensive-minded coach.
Yeah. Well, I'll be interested to see where it goes this year. I mean, it's going to be, like you said, exciting to go to Tuscaloosa, I think, for the first time in a while. Did we have a home and home in the early 2000s? Is that right?
02.
Yeah, 02 is the last time. So
Yeah, 02, 03.
It's over
23 years.
So it'll be a doozy. I can't wait to watch it, and obviously you guys might even link up, which is I think pretty cool. But guys, we're gonna go ahead and do
Sure.
our new segment that we've been doing called Throwback with Trav and JP. It just happens to be a Thursday. So
Can we throw it further back
today? Yeah. All right. So I want to throw it back to 2018. None of us want to see that. So we are, believe it or not, this, Trav requested this last week, and it just, it wasn't intentional, but we are going to look at 2024 Alabama versus OU, where, that was, truth be told, I don't think anybody thought that was going to be the game that got OU to a bowl game. I think we all thought it would be, Missouri, but, it ended up being Bama, and it was definitely a night that I felt like a lot of Sooner fans got to exercise some demons on a terrible season, and I apologize that it came at the expense of Utah, but let's go ahead and we can dialogue through this. It'd be fun to see.
Bro, this dude was a Bama fan for Saban. He needs no apologies for anything he has to sit through. This dude got to watch the greatest dynasty in the sports history. So we're not apologizing to Ty.
Hey, you know what's funny? I actually came into the pre-game show with y'all that week. I don't know if y'all remember, but I laid out like, hey, if OU is to win, here's how they do it, right? And that was almost to a T. And I was like, okay, if you're Bama, this is what you need to do. And Bama did the exact opposite of what I was like, hey, do this. I've to this day, I'm perplexed that the game plan was like, hey, we're going to try and run our quarterback into the teeth of this OU defense out the rip. It's like, did y'all not watch this? The defense was not the issue. If you were going to attack the defense, attack them deep. Make it to where you're hurting them when those linebackers are coming in, hitting them over the middle. Make them sit back a little bit and account for that, and then hit them deep. OU is not the team that I was just going to run Jalen Milroe up the middle on. That was never going to be what I would do.
Right. Yeah, and it was, obviously like you said, our offense was abysmal, and I mean, I saw the other day, maybe it was earlier today, John Mateer and Jackson Arnold's like stats from last year side by side, and I was like, Jackson Arnold only threw 3 interceptions. I was like, well, he was benched half the season. Also, he basically didn't throw the ball back when he came back. He was almost strictly a running quarterback.
Well, when you look at his turnovers, it's like, yeah, he didn't throw many interceptions, but I think he like led the league in fumbles or something.
He did, and he didn't risk throws after what happened in Tennessee. I think he started. He really didn't take. We didn't see him. We didn't have any chunk plays last year. We didn't see any chunk plays in this game besides running right here. Right, I remember this. Besides
Can you go back
running.
to?
Yeah, of course. Where would you like to go back to?
The play right before this.
This one?
Yeah, go back a little bit more, because this is something that just blew my mind. Alabama was in a lot of 3-man fronts, but if you're in a 3-man front, like, you would think theoretically that play right there, you should have had something to account for it. And OU schemed up perfectly this game. It was really, really impressive to watch the game planning Brent Venables and them did. Like, all respect to OU, just brilliant game planning. I think it's this. Is it this one? Yeah, that's a beautiful play right there. The play design of that is beautiful. If you look at what Alabama does right there, you have 3 people plus Malachi kind of coming up in this blitz. And everything right now, if you're the defense, you see the linebackers going into the flat. They're trying to account for, is that Sharp?
Bauer Sharp.
Right there? Yeah, they're trying
unless
to
you
account
Tiger
for
Bauer
Sharp.
Sharp.
So you got Malachi Moore, you got number 90 right there. Bauer Sharp is taking the linebacker. You see, I can't tell if that's your center and guard. They're taking what I believe is Jahad Campbell, and the running back is going to come right into the open space. This is a beautiful play.
Shout out to Joe John Finley.
He
took over.
That's a great play.
Yeah. Yeah, and as I was mentioning before, we just didn't see Jackson take a lot of shots down the field besides against like Maine. But that's pretty much it. He didn't have a lot of confidence. And again, there's reasons not to blame him. Like our offensive line, they got better as the year went on, obviously, but for a good portion of the time he was in there, weren't great, and then our receivers were all hurt, right? But the reality is he just didn't have any confidence still to throw the ball, and he made bad decisions in his own right, which I think led to his demise as Oklahoma's quarterback. We'll see what we can do in Auburn. But anyways, he's a running quarterback the last half of the year. Let's just keep it a buck. Ty, what do you think about Jalen Milroe in Seattle?
I'm excited for him. I'm really excited for him. Milroe, he had 3 different offensive coordinators, 3 quarterback coaches, constant scheme change. He did the best he could, man. Like, I'm such a big fan of Jalen Milroe. I know that a lot of Alabama fans have a lot to say about him. I will always defend Jalen Milroe, because whenever Nick Saban retired and everything was looking uncertain, that young man right there walked into Mal Moore, stopped before he walked in, looked at the cameras and said, "I'm not going anywhere. I'm staying right here." And he was a big reason why Alabama had even some of the success they had last year, right? Like, I know Kalen DeBoer and them were so thankful to have a force like him in that locker room. I'm really excited for Milroe. I'm really excited for him to get that consistency.
Yeah. We'll look forward to it.
See, that's just bad tackling.
Yeah.
That was terrible.
Bad tackling. One of the few, like I said, passes we saw Jackson throw. And again, Jackson has talent. Like, me and Trav actually defended him early on in the season, but after the Tennessee game, there's really nothing to defend anymore. But I think that my worst case scenario, he goes to Auburn and like tears it up. But I think he there's a lot that would have to change.
You want to know my big fear?
For him. Yeah, go ahead.
So y'all know I'm a big fan of Jackson Arnold. I'm a big fan of any kid that comes from Denton, Texas. I'm a root for them. I don't care if they go to Auburn. I don't care where they go. I'm going to be rooting for him. He is a guy that last year looked like he visibly lost confidence, right?
Yeah.
Because he had a kid come in behind him, right, that was on his heels all season. Now he's going somewhere where we've seen Hugh Freeze throw his established quarterback under the bus. He's going to a coach that notoriously will throw players under the bus. I'm worried about that, because if you have any shaky confidence and then your coach goes in front of the media and God himself and throws you under the bus for his crappy game plans, that's that.
Yeah.
I hope it goes well, but I
Yeah.
have no faith in Hugh Freeze.
Yeah, I've heard that. So yeah, we'll see what happens, man. But this was Trav. This was the Xavier Robinson game, man. When X kind of had his breakout.
He announced himself to the world. He was looking fast too.
Mm-hmm.
Everybody, was used to him just being the bruising guy, but man, he looked lean, mean, and he was fast. He's getting his blocking in. Jackson still, like, even in this game, it was just like it was a very clear game plan. If your first read ain't there, get out of there. Like,
yep.
Like there was going to be no downfield stuff this game.
Ty, are you getting some pain,
what
man?
kills me about this is, like, this is a beautiful example of one team game planning excellent, and then the other team, I'm just shocked. OU all season, right there, that's just someone missed the assignment. But OU all season has shown no ability to consistently pass. And, like, right now, yes, Alabama has 4 guys at the line of scrimmage, but how often have we seen already Bama in 3-man fronts against a team that's not really passing?
Yeah.
And I'm just sitting here the whole game going, why are we not sending the house and making him throw the ball? Like, I'm going to pin my ears back, and you're going to have to beat me deep. OU did. I think OU's defensive game plan was unbelievable. Offensive game plan with Robinson coming out, having that party, that was awesome to see. Bama was out game planned. They were out schemed.
The defense, I mean, I was so impressed with what the defense did in this game. Like, oh yeah, this pick right here, Eli Bowen, man.
That's a ball you can't throw.
Yeah. Should have just let it go.
Right. I mean, I don't even know how that ball comes out of your hand. Like, it's already blown up. Just pull it down.
Yeah.
And Eli was even
Bowen,
confused
right?
that he threw it.
Crazy athletic play by him, though. I mean, because look,
he's been in the film room.
So he sees it.
Kobe
like
Prentice
says,
misses the block.
Why even throw it right here? Yeah, he's just they're just standing. Like they were confused. Like he said, misses the block. I wonder what was Jalen he just anticipated him being there?
I think that OU had done such a good job of affecting him to this point, right?
Yeah.
Like from the first, and if you saw that, even if he tried to pull that down, he was going to get smoked because someone was coming off the edge right to him. It was meant to be a play where you take advantage of that aggression and you can get something. That's one of those where you just can't throw it. I'd rather you take the sack.
Yeah.
But that right there's a great example. When I talk about one team had brilliant game planning, Bowen, shout out to him. Young man's in the film room, and it obviously shows because he recognized instantly what this is, and I'm going to jump on it.
Yeah, this is the game.
Eli Bowen, famously of Denton, Texas.
Mm-hmm. This is the game, Trav and Ty, where you know, a lot was said about Oklahoma, right? And I'll wait. The Kip 6. Let's wait to see this because this is just beautiful. This was the game where I think Oklahoma reminded people that, like, hey, I understand that, like, the view of OU and how we played through to this point was like, oh, you know, this is what, especially troll Texas fans, this is OU, welcome to the SEC, like, you know, all that stuff without the context of the injuries. But, like, I felt like if you watch this game, you saw that OU fits in the SEC. You saw the physicality.
They
And
always do.
Yeah, no, 100%. It just, again, right, people make up their narratives, right? But just even X, that last touchdown that X ran in, like just the physicality on the line, and even X like running through Bama, who I know it's not Bama with Saban, but again, you guys are still, you know, seen as the cream of the crop in the SEC, right? So I think that was where, for a lot of people, I remember on Twitter, like, oh man, like I didn't expect that out of OU. And we were like, man, we've expected that the whole time. We just have had injuries and been trash. Did you give Jalen crap for not making that tackle, Ty? I remember a lot of people were like, I feel like he didn't even try.
I mean, yeah, that's another one where you just can't throw that ball.
Yeah.
And yeah, you got to try and make that tackle, but you know, it is what it is.
Yeah. Yeah, man, we was getting after him. Yeah, the defense was everywhere this night.
And see that if you look at the way y'all's defense was, you had opportunities to attack because, like, you had opportunities on the next play. You see it, there's an opening that you can attack before you get to that linebacker, but you're not taking it. And I think a lot of that is less about, like, you see, before Bernard gets there, there's a whole open space. That ball comes out 2 seconds sooner. He doesn't get the first down, but it's a 6-yard gain. I think a lot of that was the fact that OU did such a good job getting to Jalen and making him uncomfortable that now your clock is extended where you need to be getting things out like this. Now you're hesitating, like, okay, where is it coming from? And by the time you figure out, oh, I might be good, you're already too late.
Well, and also there's the defense played well all year, but this is clearly a defense that stepped up knowing that their offense is actually making it worth their while. Because so many times it was like the defense was like, dude, we've got to score or else we may not score this week. Like and they were just, you know, at times like you just can't do that. So with this defense, you see how they're playing, and it's like, oh, this looks like a defense that's having fun knowing that their offense is going to completely, you know, crap the bed whenever they get the ball back. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah, and this is one of the reasons why I say, guys, Bama's got to figure out that right tackle position, because even in this game, if you look at consistently, and I'm not saying it's the only place OU is winning up front. That's not what I'm saying at all. I'm saying consistently, if you want to look at where they're almost winning every single time, it's off that right side. Bama's got to figure out that right tackle.
Can you explain what just happened here to me? I remember that. I don't even remember that play, but that's pretty silly, is it not? I know he's a freshman. I know he was.
I think that he intended to fair catch it, and then the ball hit the ground.
Mm-hmm.
And by that point, it's live.
I mean, did he? I don't know. I just thought that was dangerous.
Yeah, I think it was just so much happening. He didn't. You're on mute.
Yeah.
I think it just bounced right to him. Like, I think he was like, he, you know, tracking it because that ball's about to go through the I mean, about to go through the end zone.
The end
I think
zone.
it just bounced into his chest. Look, it takes a hard hop
Yeah, at
left,
that
and it's
point.
like, oh, it's coming right at me. Like
Yeah.
because it's
Right,
like it's either going to
catch
hit
it.
him and it's going to be a fumble, or he's going to
Yeah.
catch it and just go to the ground. Like if you try and get out of the way when it takes a hard left towards you, you might, it might glance off you.
Yeah, he was all types of discombobulated, for sure.
And once again, can you go back? Look at. I mean, beating the right tackle like nobody's business.
Yeah, our Mason
here on
was-
this next one.
Our Mason was destroying him.
I just want you to watch how fast this next play, the right tackle is beat.
So this is
Done.
Trace.
He's already done.
Yeah, this Trace
Oh, yeah,
Ford.
Trace.
Who Trace Ford's a beast in his own right, right? I mean, he didn't have as much
He just
production as he
got-
could have. Go ahead, Ty.
Right tackle just got lucky that he went too deep.
Yeah.
But at that point, it didn't matter. I mean, your quarterback knows someone's heating me up, getting uncomfortable. Great game plan.
Yeah.
Our center got away with a little bit of a tackle there, but we're fine with it.
I really think that hopefully Travis is Eli his ankle wasn't like a huge ankle injury, right? It's like a sprain. Is that right?
No, he's fine.
Yeah. If Eli and Gentry is healthy, like to me that's a top 5 Trav. Tell me if you feel like
Great duo.
Same thing.
Yeah. Great. Yeah. Top 5 corner duo. Absolutely.
Corner duo in the SEC. Man, you see that? I feel like this is what we got. We didn't get a lot of this from R. Mason all year because we were down so much, but just
Man, that's amazing.
that was on a tight end though.
Look,
Ty.
just blew him up.
Yeah, and I don't understand the blocking on that at all.
Yeah, you can't.
Because
You can't
you already know
R.
that
Mason
you're
one-on-one
yeah,
with the tight end.
you can't you're already having trouble with your right tackle with these guys. So you stunt everybody inside. And granted, it was a blitz to the interior, so I get shifting at least part of your line left, but to shift everybody. Like now your running back can't help your tight end because your left tackle went too far inside. Everybody from the right guard over is correct. Right tackle needed to stay outside. Get the guy the running back got, and then the running back can help the tight end. But instead, you just have this guy who's been terrorizing your quarterback all night long.
Probably also could have been hands to the face, but got away with that one.
No, I mean, yes, by the letter of the law, but I absolutely loathe that call.
Yeah.
I hate that call across the board because what the hell do you want the defensive end to do? He's trying to get the football. He touches a guy's face. I hate that call. I don't care who the team is. I hate the hands to the face call.
Was this a busted play, Trav? Did you see that?
Had to be.
Because that doesn't make sense.
Yeah.
Faking handoff to nobody.
I think he was supposed to. Yeah. I think he was supposed to follow out to the left, and Xavier didn't even know that he was going to fake a handoff to him. But that's just how things were going in this game. It's like, oh, we couldn't move the ball all season, and then a blown play goes for like 20. You're like, what?
Yeah, while this was, don't get me wrong, I know this was a great moment for a lot of people. I still like.
I also
Had to be
called
there,
the
man.
field store, by the way.
Huh?
I called the field store. I said, if y'all beat Bama, you're storming the field.
Trav, what were your thoughts? Because I know you were at the game.
Well, I had to get on radio, but I mean, like it. I think it was just how rough the season had been. Like
Yeah.
if that's our 9th win of the year, it doesn't happen, right? If it's our 10th win of the year, it just doesn't happen. But it's not even about like being bowl eligible. It was just the season was, and take it from a guy that had to do post game radio after every excruciating loss. Like, I mean, Missouri game, I think broke the fan base. Like giving that away,
The way it
I think that broke the fan base. Like so like that's where, and the way that Oklahoma beat Bama with just turnovers, hard hitting defense, run the ball, freshman running back, just bowling over All American defenders or 5-star defender. Like it was the collective sigh of relief that it was like, okay, I don't remember the last time I enjoyed watching OU football this much. Like, and that's what it, that's how it manifested itself. But yeah, I mean, like I said, if that's our 8th win of the season, 9th win of the season, like that's not happening. It was just, it says a lot about Alabama for sure. Like Alabama has been king for, better part of 2 decades, but it also just says a lot of like, I think if LSU would have been ranked number 7 and at home and was in that same spot, and maybe we finish at Alabama or whatever, I still think OU storms the field after the season that we'd had. Now, again, this year, I'm hoping we go into that game with a few more wins under our belt than 5. Hopefully we have 5 wins knocked out by the time we see Texas, let alone by the time we see Alabama. So, hopefully, the fan base is in a little better mental health and we don't have to rush the field.
Yeah. That's what my hope is too. And we'll probably get into that a little bit in the next few weeks, talking about schedule and stuff like that. But tonight, man, it was just good to talk Ty with you and obviously chop it up about Nagy, about what's going on in Tuscaloosa, and then to reminisce. I know it's painful, but hey, you got a lot. You got a lot of national championships in your lifetime, so I think we can handle one game.
and I love good football, and there wasn't good football on the side of Alabama from a game plan perspective. But when you get in the game, now it's time to make some adjustments. It was tough for Bama to make those adjustments because you had fundamentally rattled what the offense wanted to do. I still to this day am perplexed by the 3-man front looks Bama ran like that. And what's crazy, this isn't going to mean anything. If I say the actual name of it, it's not going to mean anything. But essentially, what Bama would run a lot last year, and what I was saying, even on y'all's show right before that game, I'm like, hey, I hope they don't do this look where it's defensive tackle, bandit, wolf. What that means for Bama's defense is you have 1 defensive tackle, 2 defensive ends, and like a lighter edge rusher linebacker. And I just looked at OU and I'm like, hey, you better go 2 defensive tackles, bandit wolf, instead of real light up front trying to leverage athleticism to get to the quarterback, because y'all got this big running back that I know a lot of teams don't know him, but I knew about him just from talking to y'all, from talking to Jay, from kind of being in the know in OU. You got an athletic quarterback, and you got a hard-hitting defense. So it's like it really was, from a football fan, beautiful to watch what OU cooked up. From an Alabama fan, very painful to watch what Alabama had cooked up. But that's part of it. That's the one thing I said to Bohr, I hope you learned last season. You have got to come with a game plan every single week, because no disrespect to the Pac, this isn't the Pac anymore. You got OU, you got Georgia, you got Florida, you got Texas, you got heavy hitters here that are going to guys, just take away the brands and look at the coaches in the SEC. They're going to come with game plans. Look at the assistant coaches. They're going to come with great game plans. Can't take weeks off. I don't care who it is. They took off against Vandy beat their ass.
They sure did. They sure did. But guys, we appreciate y'all for rocking with us a little bit over time. But it's always good when we get guests on here, especially again, not even a guest, he's family at this point. Our boy Ty, getting him on here. So, man, it was a fun one. Enjoyed again. I think we're really enjoying coming back and looking at some of these games, especially trying to get back into the flow of football in the season. So please, guys, either on YouTube or on X when I post from the account, please put your recommendations under there for what games you want to see, what previous games you want to go through, because we'll do this every week. I think it's been fun and successful. So make sure you do that. Make sure you follow us on, obviously X, both of us, and our JP and Trap show, and then also Ty at ATS, right? ATS Sports Show, is that right, Ty? On X. Make sure you follow him there. Give him a like and subscribe on YouTube as well. I know he's busy right now, studying, but make sure you guys go check his content out. And then also follow us on TikTok. I did just start a TikTok account for us, just, preparing for the season to talk some sports and stuff like that. But Ty, you got anything to say, man, before we head out?
Oh no! I mean, if you're an OU fan who's worried right now, we've said it so many times. I'm going to say it again. Trust in the evaluations, because your coaching staff knows what your team needs, knows what your scheme fit is better than 24/7, better than On3, better than Rivals. And shout out to those guys at all those places because they do very well ranking. They're ranking players for their capability, not scheme fit. Your coaching staff, your GMs, they know what they're looking for. Put trust in that.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I will say, we got over 2,000 people in here right now. I know that the likes on YouTube are going to reflect that, right? I'm sure they will reflect that. So make sure, go like the video. All of our people that are hanging out with us couldn't appreciate you anymore. Ryan, Cowboys, Boomer129, all you people. Appreciate you guys coming in, and appreciate you, Ty, for joining us.
Sure. Well, until next
Thank
time,
y'all for
guys.
having me, man.
Oh, cool. Anytime. You already know that. Anytime, brother. Anytime. Next time, man. We look forward to talking more about, who knows what's gonna be going on in Suderland this time next week. But have a great 4th of July. Everybody enjoy themselves tomorrow. Have a great weekend. And we will see you back here next week. Boomer.
Roll damn time.